who is considered one of the best players in China. Again, he won the Gold Series tournament, which was the tournament that was used to qualify into this tournament. So, kind of not the most memorable day from the Chinese side, but there's still going to be a lot of good games.
All right, so Green Memory, you see on your screen, there's some facts written about him in Chinese, but it says run and gun and 3-0. So I'm guessing maybe, or sorry, 3-1 run and gun. So I'm guessing he beat him. The run and gun was one of the BlizzCon finalists from China.
It was from China. I believe the classes aren't correct though from the players. Kolento will actually be playing Priest, Mage, and Druid, not Rogue, Druid, and Mage. And GreenMemory will be playing Hunter, Mage, and Paladin. So, kind of a few technical difficulties with the classes that are
good stuff
that are shown right now.
Yeah, we also have all the players branded, by the way, as blue jacket holders or wearers rather, as opposed to the red jacket ones. So Kolento is going to be donning that, as well as the Cloud9 blue, as well as the Ukrainian flag right underneath his Hearthstone badge.
A lot of blue.
Yeah, he is shamanly covering over. We're going to start with Priest versus the Mage, and we don't know what to expect too much out of GreenMemory, but what do you think this Priest is from Kolento?
I think this Priest is going to be more of a standard control-y Priest that we usually see from the Western scene. A lot of the players, we found out about the Chinese Priest, of course, that has the Giblin Stalkers, the Mass Valence Chosens. We showed Kolento that list, and he was like, wow, you just never want to lose, do you? Or never want to win, do you? Obviously saying that this list might not be the best from his perspective, and if it's in China, Kolento's word is final.
Kolento's word is final, but can he have the first say in this series? You like that transition? Priest versus Mech Mage. Now, I was told by some pretty reliable sources that Priest, statistically, one of its best matchups is Mech Mage. Even though it doesn't feel like it'd be the go-to counter, he'd always consider some other classes, but according to some reputable sources, Priest is one of the best classes against Mech Mage, specifically.
Yeah, I would say it depends where you get your reputable sources from.
Pretty reputable.
Okay, maybe some metagame insiders, perhaps.
Anonymous metagame insiders? No, I mean more people even beyond that. I mean, anonymous meta insider is pretty high up there, but I would say about 5 tiers above that.
Okay, I see. Well, of course, if the Priest draws like Kolento is drawing right now, I would say Priest does have a very sizable advantage in this matchup. Arcanine Circle, I mean, what more can you ask for, really? And following that up even with the Sludge Belcher.
Yeah, you got to put out that Shrink Meister just to grab any semblance of board control early on. And then, I guess you just play it turn by turn here. And it's unfortunate that the Cogmaster would trade up, but that's sort of what you're expecting anyways. Oh, is he going to coin out the Frostbolt? That's interesting.
Yeah. I definitely like playing the Clockwork Gnome here because it sets up for a possible turn for Common Blast Mage. I'm not sure about the Frostbolt, though. This seems like a pretty good trade, I would say. And you do have follow-ups. I guess you do want to be aggressive here. I don't know. It's close either way, I'd say.
It was Blizzard, by the way. Blizzard told me.
Okay.
You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Okay, who did you think I was talking about?
I
like
don't
Raynad?
know. Raynad. 5.
Oh,
man.
Sir.
Dad, I like
you are quite the jester.
I like how you're always so self-deprecating about your own team. It's very refreshing.
Oh, Raynad, knowing things about the metagame. All right, well, do you want to take this opportunity to build an Injured Blade Master? No, he just chooses to heal. He's going to go for that Alkanized Soul Priest clear. Or maybe let it build up a little bit more.
I think he just wants to be greedy. He knows that he has a very nice board clear in the following turn, but GreenMemory is able to play around that by just playing a secret.
That's too bad. Now it becomes a little bit even more awkward.
Yeah. GreenMemory, of course, he had the option to just go for the Mad Scientist, but hey, I like this a lot better, actually.
So now how does Kolento deal with this? Because if he still has to deal with the 3-1 that'll survive off the Alkanized Soul Priest. Still not as bad as it could be, though.
I mean,
if he wants to give like an injured Blade Master over.
yeah, I mean, you always have a second Arcanized Soul Priest,
Mhm.
which you can use to ping down your opponent's Arcanized Soul Priest in the following turn.
That's true.
This also kind of stifles your opponent's next turn. He'll probably be forced to hero power. And spend 2 of his mana.
Yeah, but at least he has something to do. A mad scientist.
Oh, Time Rewinder. He can actually heal his
Wow.
Arcanized Soul Priest at a later point in the game.
Or just use it on like something like the Goblin Blast Mage and destroy souls.
Yeah, Goblin Blast Mage, I would say, is probably almost the best card in this entire deck. I mean, a 5/4. I think you'd actually rather have a 5/4 in this deck than a 4/5. Plus, it has like basically arcane missiles attached onto it, so that's essentially about 5 mana worth of stuff into a 4-mana minion. Of course, it's kind of has an activator effect. You have to have a mech on the field, but when you build a deck around it, Mech Mage, of course, I'm sure you'll have some way to activate
Here's
it.
the thing, Monk. Would you consider Avenging Wrath an okay card?
I would say I've seen it played a bit on ladder. I wouldn't say it's over the top, but I would say it's at least average.
How about for 3 more mana, you summon a 5/4? Because that's what happens when you put Goblin Blast Mage plus Time Rewinder together.
Wow, I had not thought of that. That seems
Don't
pretty good.
patronize me, Monk.
Seems pretty good.
All right, here we go. Blast Mage, 3 times to the Sludge Belcher. I guess he wanted to see the results first before he did anything else, but as a result, looks like he overkilled or missed the damage here by doing so. But of course, he could have easily gone forward to the face and regretted everything about his life.
This is still fine though, and Kolento, I mean, he might be running into the problem where he might be running out of cards in the future. He does have the Northshire Cleric, which I think out of all the cards in his hand is the most important right now.
Pretty clutch.
Refill his hand.
He has room to heal and Shadow Word Death. That's actually so big. That is really big because, like you said, the card count is really important. So that way you can continue to control the board effectively. And there's also a point where he's gonna have to also heal himself to stay out of range of burst finishers, like the fireballs.
And we talked a bit about the Time Winder before, and I think that might have been the actually the worst spare part he could have gotten, because if he's in a situation where he doesn't have any minions on the board and he has to play Antonize plus Time Winder, he could be in a difficult position.
I think this is pretty clever that Kolento was playing the injured Blade Master. I think, was that a reevaluation because he drew Holy Nova? So that way he can Holy Nova next turn, and then
I think even if you didn't draw Holy Nova, he
would have played the injured Blade Master.
I like that. You've already seen a Frostbolt from the mage player. You also so you basically can say that there's a very high likelihood that this Blade Master will survive the next turn.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Well, Recombobulator, wow.
I mean,
if you play Recombobulator, I would have to say that you probably play Shadow Madness in this deck.
Right, for sure. The Shadow Madness, and because you have Shrinkmeister, Shadow Madness combinations, and then of course you have the Recombobulator for Permanent Stay. What are you feeling there, Monk? Drawing a card with the Holy Nova, or just dropping Holy Nova and healing the injured Blade Master to 4/7? What's the inside scoop, Arena?
Let's see, if you... I like just healing, because next turn you can draw the Northshire Cleric and make your opponent just have a Northshire Cleric. Otherwise, you'd have to play the Recombobulator.
Wow, really just not
into the Mirror Entity. So only one type of secret in this mage deck, and it's going to be Mirror Entity.
Yep.
Okay, so he's going for this right now.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I forgot that he can just trade in. Yeah, that's better. So we saw Kolento use a Shadow Word Death before, and unfortunately he doesn't have one right now. So quite a bit of trouble with this Dr. Wu on the board. He has no real way to deal with it. So he's going to probably have to heal and hope to draw his second Shadow Word Death.
Yeah, but he's got stall, so there's that. And he can draw a card as well, finally.
That's not great. In these kind of situations where you're top decking, Wild Pyromancer is kind of one of the worst cards in your deck. And I think that's one of the reasons the Chinese players, they've kind of gone in a different direction with Priest. Less around the combo nature of Priest and more for like board control. So it kind of plays more like a Paladin or a Shaman. as opposed to like a standard control priest.
That's a good observation. Fireball. So he's getting closer to the end here of maybe being able to burn his opponent out.
Now you saw your opponent didn't have an answer for Dr. Boom last turn, so maybe you can just return it to your hand and heal it up.
So you kill off that, and then you play Antonidas and return Dr. Boom back?
Yeah, because he probably definitely didn't have a Shadow Word Death on the previous turn.
Right.
You probably know that he doesn't have one on this turn, so it's going to be, again, very difficult for him to deal with this.
Still out of mind control range, too.
Exactly. I think you definitely have to play this Antonidas on this turn.
You collect a lot of damage, too, because you have a third Fireball in the deck, and then another Frostbolt, so... Well, not a third Fireball, sorry, a third effective Fireball after you get one from the Antonidas.
From GreenMemory's perspective, Kolento actually can't deal with the Antonidas that will come on the field. So yet another reason for Antonidas.
Well, yeah, he'll have 6 damage, you're right.
Yeah. Oh, and there we go. I think Dr. Boom will be making a quick return to GreenMemory's hand. And what's better than one Dr. Boom, 2 Dr. Booms in the same game?
Well, it's like 1.5 Dr. Booms.
Oh, fair enough.
But that still is better than one Dr. Boom.
Yeah.
Objectively speaking. Alright, so he can kill off this Antonidas, which he absolutely has to do.
The issue he has to deal with is that if he kills off this Antonidas with his current board... Actually, because he drew a spell, he can actually kill the Antonidas plus leave the Blade Master alive plus draw a card.
Nice.
He gave up the Power Word Shield, unfortunately, but he does draw another spell. He plays Akanai, so that means
he's going to use the hero power down instead.
So unfortunately not going to be able to draw a card.
That's fine. I think this is sort of like having another card anyways, that the injured Blade Master stays alive, as opposed to having a card in your hand, you have one put directly in play. So I like that more for board pressure. Problem is, now he can't really heal.
Exactly.
So there's no incentive necessarily for Mage to let the Akanai die if he draws more burn. In fact, Monk, what happens if he draws like the Frostbolt? Does he just shoot both to the face? Like both spells to the face and just let it go?
Well, I think this is kind of like shooting both spells to the face. I mean, I think you still...
You think about shooting his own Boombot? Oh,
no,
man.
I don't think that's correct, unfortunately. Just because it's a more fun card, I'd say.
Well, Monk, when there's $60,000 on the line and a Ferrari to be won, I think now is not the time to be messing around with Garzilla, unless you're absolutely forced to. Now, if you're playing in a show match against other casters from a different region,
fair enough.
I would say Garzilla is like fun enough to play.
Yes, I believe my only mistake in my match against the Chinese caster was that I did not bring Garzilla to the deck, to the tournament.
Kolento's a few points off lethal, by the way. He's got the Fireball and the Frostbolt. You can just guarantee that he won't die in the next couple turns and get some damage in, he'd be good. Kolento's also calculating the chance that he might die, assuming his opponent has the kill command and Leash the Hounds. He knows one of the cards is a minion off Web Spinner, so that one could obviously be a wild card, like if it's an extra damage with Stone Tusk Boar, if it's the Direwolf Alpha.
If it's a Kodo, that might be
a Stampeding Kodo to destroy and piss on his dreams.
Okay.
That is the damage necessary. He's missing that 3 damage short.
Setting up lethal. Whoa. Owl is actually... It would have been good if... well, it's still good, but it would have been even better if the Hunter player had lethal right now.
Did he sequence that correctly? Uh-oh. He should have played the Glaive Zuka first.
Does he?
It's okay. He's gonna get it anyways on the 1/1, and then it'll be all sweet, man.
I mean, it's on the board. I don't think so, but yeah, there's pretty much no way for him to win at this point.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Unfortunately, Godzilla was not able to be played.
This is where you play Garzilla because you pretend like you wasn't sequencing him properly with the Glaive Zuka.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think you're really scared of this 1/2 minion. I mean, it's not actually going to make a difference. So Godzilla, it does come on the field, but Kolento doesn't even wince because he knows he doesn't have to deal with it.
Yeah. This game's over.
He can even ping the Godzilla for maximum BM.
Oh, he absolutely should. In fact, he should add 1 Whirling Blade to Garzilla and then ping it.
Of course.
Make it 14
Come on,
damage.
Kolento. No. Missed BM. Almost as bad as missed lethal.
All right, series is even, man. We got 1-1 going into game 3. Kolento has Priest and Druid up against Paladin and Hunter. Pretty interesting mix of classes, but I would. It's very interesting, right? Because Kolento's Priest is very good against both these classes, but I feel like Druid is pretty bad against both these classes, and I think that gives GreenMemory the edge.
Yeah, but again, Druid is a class that can take games off of anyone if you just draw that Wild Growth or Innervate. So I think Kolento is still in a pretty good position. I mean, that Priest, I don't know how well we'll do against the Hunter per se, but I think Priest is one of the classes. It doesn't have a lot of good matchups, but I do believe that Paladin is one of the better matchups that Priest does have.
Yeah.
With Thought Steals, I mean, like Thought Stealing and Aldor is just so great. When you combine it with Cabal, like you can basically steal Tyrion with that.
Especially if you have Pyromancer, then all of a sudden those 1/1s aren't as big of a problem. It can be problematic if they have, the Quartermaster plays and whatnot, or say in the very, very late stages of the game and you're just drawing 1 card per turn and the Paladin stacking hero powers, then yeah, the Paladin can definitely run away at that point. But as long as Kolento has a pretty reasonably balanced control priest and plays very resource cost efficiently, he should be favored in that match. And then, of course, if Priest can stand against the Hunter pressure, it's going to be in a good spot. The question becomes, can Druid be able to stand up to the Paladin? Because we all know that Hunter is pretty good against Druid, especially with freezing traps. How does it fare against Paladin, you feel? Because I always feel like the Paladin's a little bit better against Druid than the other way around.
Yeah, I actually feel like it has a lot to do with how the decks are built. I think faster Paladin decks tend to do a little better against faster Druid decks, whereas slower Paladin decks tend to deal better with slower Druid decks.
Gotcha.
Such as Stan Sifka's kind of rampy Druid. And I think it's because Paladin is still the class that's not usually the aggressive class. It's the class that has a lot of answers. So a faster Paladin has more and better answers to a faster Druid, whereas a slower Paladin has more and better answers to a slower Druid. But enough about Paladin versus Druid. This game we have the Hunter versus the Druid from Kolento. Now I want to point out that we've seen a lot of the same cards in this Hunter as the Hunter that we saw from the other Chinese player, Ice Fox. So there might actually be like a Chinese list going around with this exact cards like Leopardones as their 1-drops and Glaive Zuka, as well as the standard Dr. Boom high main combo.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have famous Hunter deck builders like Nine Man and Cynics in the Western scene, and most Hunter decks are copied off of them. So there might be like an equivalent in the Chinese scene, a Chinese Nine Man, if you will.
I'm actually curious about the Druid pick here, because if Kolento feels like his best shot is to play Priest from this point onwards, I guess was he afraid of running into Hunter because he needs Priest against the Paladin? Because Hunter makes a lot of sense from GreenMemory side, right? He doesn't want to lose matches unnecessarily.
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting. Either way, this Druid deck probably not going to fare too well against really strong pressure. He's got cards like the Pilot Shredder, which also gives Druid generally a hard time.
And you know what else he has? He has the Harrison Jones, which is perfect here. Honestly, even a Sludge Belcher would be great. If Kolento's a bit more greedy, and he wants to save that Harrison Jones for a stronger Eagle Horn bow, then that might be the answer. He also knows that this Chinese player is probably playing a similar deck to his Chinese counterpart, and if they're indeed using the same deck, he probably does have that Eagle Horn bow in his deck as well. Both 5-drops are very good in this situation, actually.
Yeah, I think so. It also depends on what secrets you think would pop out. So, freezing trap, right?
Yeah.
I think we haven't seen a snake trap.
Yeah, we saw a double freezing trap from the other hunter, so it stands to reason that double freezing trap would be coming here.
Wow.
If Eagle Horn bow is used now, he actually has to kill this Harrison Jones.
Yep. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. And if he kills the Harrison Jones, that means that Keeper is going to get bounced back.
Right, and you can silence things, especially for powerful cards like the High Main.
Yeah, so this is, again, another Sophie's choice. Which one do you want to give to your opponent? And both are really bad.
Okay, don't be so dramatic. Jeez. Sophie's choice.
You have to give up one of your children, basically.
Did you actually read Sophie's Choice?
I did not read Sophie's Choice, I'm sorry. I did not even watch the movie. I read the Wikipedia article. So that's the kind of person I am.
Good enough, I guess.
So
Innervate Dr. Boom.
Of course.
Can you deal with this, Hunter?
Oh, man. Not playing around mind control tech, I would say pretty reasonable against the Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, he's not 5 mana. The best he can do is draw. But this Boombot, what if he just snipes this Cult Master?
Yeah, I guess
Straight up. Oh!
Yeah, there he goes. Fortunately, he still gets the card.
Right.
But probably not what...
The Druid takes such a large initiative because now Dr. Boom's hitting 7 per turn. He's got the Sludge Belcher to protect his life total. And he's even making up a little bit of ground by hero powering and adjusting for his life. So Kolento is sitting in an awesome spot. And he even played around Explosive Shot.
Wow.
Good fundamentals.
I mean, he might be aware of this player called Fake, who uses Explosive Shot in his Hunter decks. At the Gfinity tournament, he actually brought a Control Hunter. Now, I'm not talking about mid-range Hunter, which we see from the GreenMemory right now. I'm talking about full-on Control Hunter with Spin Weedle snipers and Explosive Shot, and no kill commands, but plenty of deadly shots. Not multi-shot, though. Ran Arcane Shot, and he actually ran Grazrilla.
Wow. It's pretty impressive. Not as impressive as this game, though. Kolento stomps the Hunter, and that was a very strong play, just from getting Wild Growth early on all the way to making sure he can get that Dr. Boom out. As you can tell, that is why they call him K-God, because he draws Wild Growth.
Not only does he draw Wild Growth, but he draws Innervate into Dr. Boom. So
that's right.
Just after everything. And not only that, I feel like the strongest play that turn was actually, or that game was actually Keeper the Grove on turn 4 into a Knife Juggler.
Yeah,
that's probably the most
the
value.
Harrison Jones was actually pretty big.
Exactly. So Kolento just pretty much had really good turns every single turn.
That's a really good point that Mir's talk about. The Harrison Jones helped him draw into the Innervate, right, which helped him get Dr. Boom. So if he went for a more passive play of Sludge Belcher, it could have ended up giving Hunter time to breathe enough to play cards like High Main, and then Dr. Boom becomes less good. So that's a pretty big observation to make that allows Kolento to win the game. What seems to be easy and straightforward, but there's definitely a few decision trees that he could have gone elsewhere.
Yeah, I think when Blizzard made the card Wild Growth, they were kind of thinking like this is how it would play out. Wild Growth, it gave him a disadvantage on board from the first few turns. The Hunter was pretty much allowed 2 free turns in which he played Knife Juggler into Mad Scientist.
Right.
But Kolento had more mana to deal with everything and more options. He wouldn't have been able to play the Keeper on turn 4, which is a huge swing, but not enough to bring him back into the game or bring him on par on the game. But then he was able to play Harrison, which brought him even further ahead. And each turn, he was allowed to get just a little more ahead until he was on par with the Hunter player and then surpass the Hunter player with the Innervate draw as well.
All right, so we're going to game number 3. Kolento will be going back to Priest against Hunter or Paladin. 2 classes where I think he's okay, honestly, facing off against. It's never a guaranteed thing against Hunter. And it's never truly a guaranteed thing against Paladins. Sometimes Paladins' tempo can't be taken away from them. They have the God draw, but I'm liking Kolento's chances here to advance to the round of 8.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think it would be rather a shame if Kolento didn't advance from this tournament. I mean, it was actually very difficult for him to get his visa. He had to fly on very short notice, and to come here among all his adoring Chinese fans and just lose in the first round, and then have to just basically do nothing for the next 3 or 4 days, I would say probably what I would consider a disappointment.
Well, hold off on that assessment.
We'll hold off on that assessment because this hunter drew pretty badly.
That is a bad draw.
Not a huge draw.
Does Admiral say anything when that's like it's the opposite of a bad draw or about opposite of a huge draw?
I don't think he does right now, but I'll definitely talk to him about that. He definitely needs kind of the opposite catchphrase.
His catchphrase is per cast. His CPC has been low pretty recently. I think he needs to step it up.
I mean, I think at the Gfinity tournament, I actually said Senor El Fuego more times than he did. Kind of disappointing there.
He's losing his edge, man. It's the beard. It's the source of his power.
Yeah, I think he actually made a bet that he would shave off his beard, and then he realized that there's no way he could do that because it was like just his signature thing, right?
Yeah.
So
that's why he is the Dark Iron Dwarf.
They actually call him that in China as well.
They call Admiral the Dark Iron?
Yeah.
Oh, that is amazing. I love China, man.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
Well, speaking of Dark Iron Dwarf, there's actually a Chinese player, Dong Zhong. You know him, right?
Yeah.
So they actually call him the Sludge Belcher because he's a little big, and he also has a son who kind of looks like him.
Oh, so they call him the slime, or the sludge?
Yeah. So he's like his son is the slime, and like it's not like we're making fun of him. He actually like really loves this game. He embraces it fully.
Good for him, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, the Shadow Madness value. Oh wait, no, there's a
freezing trap.
Freezing trap.
Still decent value, I'd say.
Oh, Pyromancer. That's also pretty decent.
Pyromancer, and then you can Shadow Madness in a future turn. I mean, Shadow Madness, you're always going to get value in this matchup. I would say slightly less these days, as opposed to when Hound Masters were being run.
Right.
Like if you just Shadow Madness a 3/4 Haunted Creeper or a 3/3 Web Spinner, it's just so much value.
There's a lot of ways to play out this turn, Monk. What do you think?
Okay, so you have 5 mana. I definitely would like the Wild Pyromancer, probably the Powered Shield.
Yeah.
And then see what you draw. Maybe just heal.
Yeah, I guess his rationale is he'd rather
well.
just build up the board. If he uses last weapon charge, he's fine with it.
He's hoping here to just kind of force his opponent to deal with this Mad Scientist. Even though Kolento doesn't have enough secrets in his hand, the Mad Scientist is kind of threatening because it threatens to proc the Freezing Trap if nothing's done about it. And in order for GreenMemory to deal something about it, he needs either to play the Hunter's Mark or the Unleash the Hounds. And I'm not sure if either of those are exactly what you want to do in order to save a Freezing Trap. What do you really value more? The other thing is that...
How about the Cult Master?
Yeah.
Hunter's Mark.
Okay. Yeah, the other thing is that he can't really... It's really difficult for him to use the bow even. Because if he does, he gives up a charge of his bow as well.
Yeah, this is fine by me. Ooh, he passes, then that frees up the Shadow Madness to allow him to clear.
Yep.
Actually, there's a lot of ways you can do this turn again. Before I thought it was pretty clear, but
no, I like the Shadow Madness.
Shadow Madness. So you Shadow Madness the 1/1 token,
and you get a Wisp.
But it costs 3 mana? 2 mana?
2 mana. 2 mana, I think.
The Spectral Spiders are 0 mana?
Free, yeah. They're just like Wisps.
But, oh, really? Okay. Interesting. See, Monk is the Hearthstone Encyclopedia.
I don't know about that. Maybe they're not Wisps. Maybe they cost
Monk
like 10
is
mana.
Liquipedia. Oh my god.
Oh, wow.
Is
that confirmed?
I need some facts to toss to Monk to test his knowledge. He has nothing in front of him other than a sheet of paper with the players' classes on it.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure if anybody asks a random question from chat, Monk will know the answer to it.
Really putting me on the spot here. But you know what? I accept the challenge.
I 99% guarantee it.
All right.
Okay, the alternative play is to kill command. This he needs to stop the hunter from drawing cards, so he needs to get rid of the cult master.
Okay, that's interesting. I guess like he wants to save the Shadow Madness because he knows it's gonna get value later on.
Sure.
Look at those Kolento plays. Kolento is one of those players that he just plays so fast at the very end of a turn. There's a lot of times where I see Kolento play and he's like, he just plays like 10 cards in a row right when the rope is about to end. And because we see from the spectator mode, we're like, oh, he actually didn't get the turn off. But, you know, we always trust Kolento. He's never...
Opponent was over defending all time, but it's a different story.
是这样的，他觉得可能大部分的情况下呢，都不是那么简单，但是好像青叶有点死于结场的意思，有点过于的有防御性了。
特别是那两具猎人的那场。
Especially the Hunters game.
Yeah, I mean, Mage game was fine. In Hunter's game, like trading within 6 power, 6 damage to the face to kill a minion. I guess he was really scared.
就是可能猎人的那一场是有一点过于这个有防御性的，就是法师的那一场还行。但是他觉得如果其中有一场比赛那6点伤害能打在脸上的话，会远比结场要好很多。
这也是 K 神的这个想法。那其实，在我们之前的这个赛前采访当中呢，有记者告诉 K 神是中国最受关注也是最受欢迎的一位国外选手。他说他不太相信中国有很多他的粉丝。那这个时候，我想，Kolento 用中文并且做一个比划，打的6，好吗？对着我们的镜头，也对我们所有的这个观众朋友打的6，说一句话。然后观众们如果听到这句话的话，你们也打个6，好不好？我们做一个小互动。
Okay, this is a challenge for me.